Welcome back to Elden Ring. In this video we are going through a dual katana mage build for the Moonveil. This is a build guide for players that are level 100 plus, and with this one you're based on a mage, you're going to be using magic, so intelligence is the way to go. Mine is only 44, so I haven't hit the soft caps or anything like that, so you can make this build even better if you specifically level into intelligence. And just quickly before we get into the showcase and then the build and everything like that, if you're not currently subbed to the channel, make sure you do sub, turn notifications on. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, all support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to support me further as a creator, then check out the links in the description, and let's get into it. So with this build, there is going to be a couple of things that you are going to want separate to just the Moonveil katana and the secondary katana, which is the Nagakiba. But when you do a standard double attack, so if I run at this enemy, I jump and I use my left bumper, you're going to see I deal 420 damage. Then if I come back and I reset the enemy, if I crouch over to this guy this time, and I use just a standard left bumper, you're going to see 516. If I then use Golden Veil, which is something I like to proc on pretty much every single build, because it boosts your attack and your defense. If we then come over and attack the same guy, that 516 goes up to 593. If I then proc Golden Veil and drink my flask of wondrous physick, and come over here and do another left bumper attack, that damage goes up to 705. So that's like your standard sort of damage against a very early enemy. And what we're going to do now is use the skill on the Moonveil, and that's going to be even higher. So if I proc Golden Veil, if I drink my flask, then come over here and I use the skill, so Transient Moonlight, 18 of 14. So the skill is going to be the thing that you focus on with this build. There are a couple of extras. So if I proc Golden Veil, then I use Terra Magica, and I drink my flask, then I do Transient Moonlight, you'll see that goes up to 2449. However, Terra Magica isn't going to be the best because you need to stand in the sigil, but I'll show you how to get your hands on that as well. So with this build, you will run dual katanas. You'll see the length on the Nagakiba, that's why I went with that one, because it has a much bigger range than other katanas in the game. But you've got Transient Moonlight, which if I hold my left trigger to sheath the katana, then I use my right bumper, it does a horizontal slash. Whereas if I use my left trigger and sheath again and do my right trigger, it does a vertical slash. So it has two different moves. The horizontal one will use 15 FP or cost 15 FP. The vertical one, which is the stronger of the two, and that one costs 20 FP. So there are other talismans and stuff you can run with this as well. It's not just the ones I'm going to show you, but something like the Carian Filigreed Crest, that is going to lower the cost by, I think it's 25%. So that 20 cost would go down to 15. The 15 cost would go down to about 11 or 12. So, jumping into this build, we are running the Moonveil katana, and to get your hands on this, if you make your way to Caelid, so you go from the first step where you first spawn in, you come up to Gatefront, then you come along, so all the way up this path, and you come to Stormhill Shack, then follow this all the way along, come down past Summon Water Village, and make your way into Caelid. From Caelid Ruins, if you make your way over and you come to Fort Gale North, if you make your way up here, you'll come to Gale Tunnel. Inside that tunnel, the main boss in there is a magma worm. Take down that magma worm, you'll get your hands on the Moonveil katana. For the Nagakiba, which is what we're going to run in our offhand, this one is linked to Bloody Finger Hunter Yura's quest, and I would apply any Ash of War in the game to the Nagakiba, but I would recommend putting the cold or magic affinity on it, because that way, if you have a look, I've got the magic affinity. It now scales at a B tier for intelligence. However, if you do cold, it will lower the intelligence scaling a little bit, but you'll deal a frostbite build up, or just a frost build up. So it's entirely up to you how you run it. I would personally go with magic because it makes your magic scaling a lot better and it's going to scale much better off your intelligence stat. Then what we are doing is running the Golden Order Seal. I don't think the Seal matters too much at all. The reason I've gone with the Golden Order one is because it scales with Intelligence at an A tier. It does boost your Fundamentalist incantations, however Golden Vow as an incantation cannot be boosted by any passive effect in the game. There is nothing you can use to boost Golden Vow because it increases your attack and defense. You can't change them percentages around. But in order to get your hands on the Golden Order Seal, if you make your way up to the capital and you get just inside the outskirts, so when you get to the outer wall Phantom Tree, if you follow this path down here to the southeast and you come to the minor Erdtree Church, you'll be able to pick up the seal which just sat at the bottom of the tree, and then you can level it up with some smithing stones and stuff like that. In terms of the incantation, Golden Vow, you want to make your way over to Mount Gelmir. And if you come, I would say go through the capital outskirts from Outer Wall Phantom Tree, come up to the Outer Wall Battleground, then at the top here where you've got the massive wall, there's a huge archway, go through there, come along to Windmill Village, then along to Road of Iniquity side path, and then follow it all the way down, get to the Bridge of Iniquity, and then just come all the way along here to Corpse Stench Shack. You will be invaded by an NPC at this point, but take down that NPC, and inside the shack you will be able to pick up the Golden Vow incantation. Then in terms of the armor, I'm running the Twin Sage Glintstone Crown. Like, a couple of pieces on this build are optional. The reason I'm running them is because they boost intelligence, and my intelligence stat is quite low. So if I was to switch out to the Godric Soldier Helm, my intelligence goes down to 38. So this Twin Sage is going to boost it by +6. However, there are other ones that will boost it by +3, like the Lazuli Glintstone Crown and the Witch's Glintstone Crown. So it's entirely up to you what you are running, but if you do want the Twin Sage Glintstone Crown, then you'll find this in Raya Lucaria Academy, which is up in Aeonia, and inside you're going to want to, I'd recommend watching a guide for this one, but you're going to need to traverse some rooftops, and you're going to need to kill a crystal crab. Then you'll get your hands on the Twin Sage Crown, and as I said, there are a couple of others you can go for. It's just I wanted to boost my intelligence as high as possible, because that is the main stat you'll be focusing on. The rest of your armor is entirely optional. I just chucked on some sorcerer's stuff and I got Lusat's robe on, just so that I can look the part as a mage. Even though we're running katanas, the Moonveil is based on magic, so it's quite a nice sort of look for a build like this. Then in terms of talismans, Shard of Alexander is a must-have. It will greatly boost the attack power of your skills. This is obtained by completing the Iron Fist Alexander quest. You can get a less potent version of this talisman by just killing Iron Fist Alexander, although I would highly recommend you do the entire quest. It will take you all the way to the Crumbling Pharaoh Missoula, but once you've done it, it will greatly boost the attack power. The other one, I think it just boosts the attack power of your skills. For the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, this will greatly raise the attack power with successive attacks. So the more you're spamming your left bumper, because these weapons have a 4-hit combo, and you'll see the final attack is like a heavy double slash. This one is tied to the Millicent quest. You have to assist Millicent, and it's like quite close to the end of the quest, but again, the talisman is really, really worth getting your hands on. Then Marika's Sourcil, you're going to have to be really far into the game up to the Haligtree. So if we come up to get the, I think it's the Haligtree medallion, then at the Grand Lift of Rold, you can take the secret secret route from the lift. And that is going to bring you into the consecrated snowfield. Then at the top, you'll have a little town called Ordina. And in Ordina, there's an Everjail. If you go to the Everjail and you light the flames inside it, then this staircase at the back will open up. Once you get to the top, there's a teleporter. It'll bring you over to the Haligtree. And then it's all about making progress until you get to a site of grace called Prayer Room. You can get Marika's Scarseal, which will probably be a lot easier to get your hands on. But instead of raising 4 attributes by +5, the Scarseal will only boost them by +3. But if you come exactly where I have, you just jump over that little wall from the prayer room. You will have an Erdtree avatar boss walking this bridge. But if you can avoid him, just wait until he walks along. I'd recommend past that tower. And then if you run off here, you'll need a stone sword key for this. Jump across to the bridge. And then over here, if you make your way along, and you jump from here over to this tower, there will be some horrible enemies around here, but inside that archway at the end, there will be an imp statue on the left-hand side. Put your stone sword key in, break the seal, go in there, there's a chest, and that chest will contain Marika's Saw Seal, which is going to boost your Mind, Intelligence, Faith, and Arcane by +5 each, at the cost of taking an extra 15% damage from any source of damage in the game. So as I said, Scar Seal, probably easier to get your hands on, will only boost the stats by +3 each, but at the same time you'll take less damage. So it's entirely up to you which one you run. Then the final one, as I said, I was doing everything to raise my intelligence for this build. The final talisman I'm running is Stargazer Heirloom. This will raise your intelligence by +5. And this one is part of Ranni's quest line. It's a long-winded quest line. But when you do get to the end of it, it will take you to the Divine Tower of Aeonia. And at the top of that tower, you'll be able to get your hands on the Stargazer Heirloom. As I said, honourable mentions, Carian Filigreed Crest is going to lower the FP consumed by your skills. If you want to mix this up and not just run the Moonveil Katana, if you want to run some sorceries as well, you can get the Graven Mass or even the Graven Skull Talisman. If you want to deal with incantations, you can get Flock's Canvas. And there's another weaker one, I forget the name of it. But there are lots of different choices you have with this, and we'll get into some other options a little bit further in. But now we've covered the talismans, it's time for the Flask of Wondrous Physick. If for any reason you don't have your Flask of Wondrous Physick from Gatefront, if you come down here across the bridge, come up and head to the Third Church of Marika, your flask will be sitting there. And the two tiers that I'm running inside it are the Intelligence Not Crystal tier and the Magic Shrouding Cracked tier. For the Magic Shrouding Cracked tier, in Aeonia, if you come to the northeast side, you're going to have a minor Erdtree. So it's just over to the east of the Mausoleum compound. Take down that Erdtree avatar boss, you will be awarded the Magic Shrouding Cracked tier. And then over to the west of the minor Erdtree for the Intelligence Not Crystal tier, if you come to Northern Aeonia Lake Shore, when you are here, if you head east and you make your way down to the lake so that you are level with the lake, then if you follow this, like the edge of, I'm going to say the shore, if you follow the shore of the lake and you keep heading up north, you'll come across a pack of wolves. So it's not too far up, a little bit further from where we are now. The wolves are going to be roughly around this area here. There you go. They're just running down the path. If you ignore them and you come northwest, be careful. There will be some creepy hands and stuff in this forest. But make your way all the way to the northeast side of this forest. And you're going to see this ledge that comes up here. If you come around the normal way, there's going to be a giant hand that will grab you. So jump up on the edge and come over to here. And in this little pot here, you'll see the fingernails of the giant hand that will grab you. They're just in front of us. If I quickly put my lantern on, I don't know if you can see them. Let me just quickly kill these little hands. I say quickly, they're an absolute nightmare. You'll kind of see, like you can see the blue fingernails sticking up there. That's a giant hand that will jump out and it will grab you. And it deals a lot of damage. But this pot that's at the back of my horse now, the Intelligence Not Crystal tier will be sat in that pot. So pick that up, go to a site of grace, mix your Flask of Wondrous Physick, put the Magic Shrouding Cracked tier and the Intelligence Not Crystal tier in there. So that is the entire build put together. But as I said, there are a few extra things you can do to make this even better. One of them, if your intelligence is quite high as it is, you could replace Stargazer Heirloom or even Marika's Saw Seal. And similar to these Scorpion Charms here, you can get one for magic. I've got one for Holy, Lightning and Fire. Unfortunately, I progressed too much in the game, I've locked myself out of getting the magic one. But if you can get the Magic Scorpion Charm, it'll boost your magic power by 12%. It's tied to Celevis and his quest. If you do take on Ranni's quest and you progress all the way through, you get the Stargazer Heirloom and everything like that, you will be locked out of getting the Magic Scorpion Charm. You can go through to New Game Plus and obtain it that way, but I'd recommend doing Celevis's stuff first and then doing Ranni's quest. Because for some reason in this game, from what I've read at least, you can go to the Church of Val, you can receive absolution, and you can correct Ranni's quest. You can't correct Celavis's quest. So it's a little bit basically shit. Just the fact that there are quests in this game that will lock you out of items. I've been locked out of a lot of stuff on this game save. And at the moment I'm still chilling, not going through to New Game Plus or anything like that. At least for the time being. So I'm still locked out of a lot of items. But if you're interested in the Magic Scorpion Charm, make sure you do Celavis's quest in the middle basically of doing Rani's. Then if you want Terra Magica, I'd say it's quite good to have on a build. It's just going to be very situational because there's a sigil you place on the floor, and in order to get the damage boost on your magic, you need to be standing in that sigil. But if you do manage to put it off against a slow moving boss that's got aggro from one of your summons or something like that, this sigil for Terra Magica will boost your magic by 35%. It's a very, very big boost. If you do want to get your hands on it, over in the lake, Raya Lucaria Academy, there is an Academy Crystal Cave underneath. So if we go to Temple Quarter quickly, you'll need a Stone Sword key for this one as well. From Temple Quarter, if you don't know how to get into the Academy itself, then up here at this rock formation, there will be a dragon. You can go around the dragon, you can sneak past it. And on this corpse that's sat right here, where we are now, there will be the key to break the seal and you can get into the Academy. So it's this rock formation here. But if we head over here to the cave, you'll start seeing all of these cerulean scarabs. You'll see the entrance to the cave here. So pop your Stone Sword keys in. I'm not entirely sure if it's 1 or 2. But when you get into this cave, there's a Site of Grace here. From the Site of Grace, what you're going to do is if we pop our lantern on, you're going to head east. You're going to follow this path all the way around, ignore the rats, and just keep making your way through. In a moment, we're going to do a left turn. And when you get down to this section, if you follow my exact route, and you do a 180 on yourself round to the right, come through this section here. I'm actually going to pop a flask. Through this door, there's another couple of enemies. Try and ignore these or take them down. Do whatever you need to do. In this room here, there's going to be a boss. Or there's going to be 2 bosses. They are crystal bosses, and you need to poise break them. Then they're going to start taking damage from all sources. Sword of Night and Flame is really good against them if you have that. But after you've defeated the bosses, if you come to the back, you'll come to what I like to call the longest elevator in Elden Ring. This takes about 25 seconds down. And then I believe it's about the same time going up. It's a really, really long elevator, but you'll understand why in a moment. So, when you get to the top of the elevator, you'll notice it says Academy of Raya Lucaria. We are all the way above the Academy, and that's why the elevator takes so long. You're coming from underneath the Academy in the Crystal Cave. You're coming to way above it. But make your way up the ladder. Inside this chest, you will get Terra Magica. Then, one of the easiest staffs to get your hands on so that you can cast Terra Magica. If you go to the first step, when you are here, if you head east, and we're going to head into a place called Dragonburnt Ruins, you'll see the ruins right in front of us. So if we just drop down here, ignore all the combat and everything like that. When you do get to the ruins, where that archway is, just over to the right hand side, there's going to be some stairs that lead down. At the bottom of these stairs, there's going to be a room full of rats. Ignore the rats, or fight them if the door's not open. Open this chest. You are going to be trapped. It's a trap chest, and it's going to put you into a loading screen. You will be teleported to a place called Celia Crystal Tunnel. And this is all the way over in Caelid. So when you're in here, come out, run to the left, come back on yourself all the way down here. And be careful, you are going to get attacked. Well, I mean, it's not a guarantee, but you might be attacked. Drop down here, and there's going to be a Site of Grace. From this Site of Grace, make your way outside, so head south. Then what you want to do is jump on your horse. And this massive, cliff that's on your right-hand side, so southwest, if you basically hug this and come all the way around until you see a giant crimson scarab. So you'll see the giant crimson scarab there. If you just head directly behind it, you're going to see a ruins. I believe it's called Streets of Sage, or the Street of Sage Ruins. There you go, Street of Sage's Ruins. If you head to the far west, you're going to see this structure here. You can grab yourself a spell down here called Rock Sling. It's really powerful if you are running just a standard sorcery-based mage, like on an astrologer or something. So grab Rock Sling. But from this ruins, what we're going to do is head back up the stairs, and we're going to come southwest. Pretty well, more south, until you get to this structure here right in the corner. When you are here, if you jump off your horse, hug this wall and come around here, this corpse will have a staff on it called the Meteorite Staff. So the Meteorite Staff, at base, because you can't actually upgrade this, no matter what you try and do, some of the smithing stones, normal ones, it can't be upgraded. It has S tier scaling for intelligence. It will boost your gravity sorcery, so if you're running Meteorite of Estelle, if you're running Rock Sling, anything that's like purple, this is going to boost. But the main thing you're focusing on is the S tier scaling for intelligence. You're going to use this to run Terra Magica. So some of the gravity sorceries are Gravity Well, Rock Sling, Meteorite of Estelle. There's probably a lot more in the game. It's not necessarily the gravity sorcery or even the intelligence scaling. It's a fantastic staff for an intelligence-based build. You're going to use any staff in the game at all because Terra Magica cannot be buffed by any passive effect or the scaling or anything. It's the same as Golden Vow because it has that percentage. It's a 35% boost. But I recommend Meteorite Staff because we're focusing on an intelligence build, and if you're running sorceries or anything like that at the side of the Moonveil, this is an amazing staff to use. There are other options obviously, but you can get this one really, really early in the game. And as I said, this is optional, it's going to be incredibly situational. But that's the entire build. You've got the Moonveil, you've got the Nagakiba, you've got a Meteorite Staff if you want it, you've got the Golden Order Seal, Twin Sage Glintstone Crown, any armor of your choice, Shard of Alexander, Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, Marika's Sword Seal, Stargazer Heirloom. Obviously there are other choices out there as well, but in the Flask of Wondrous Physick, you've got Intelligence Not Crystal tier, you've got Magic Shroud in Crack tier, and that is probably one of, if not the best, intelligence-based Moonveil dual katana mage builds in the game. Besides switching out some talismans and maybe some of the armor or something, you're not going to get any better than this. The Nagakiba, if you just have a look at the size difference of the Moonveil and the Nagakiba, you can see just the amount of extra range you're going to get. So if we come over to the Sanctum over in Caelid, and we take a look at the Black Blade, if I do a standard transient Moonlight against him, it deals 993. So it takes a decent portion off him. If I switch over and I pop Golden Vow, then I get the Nagakiba back out. And if I take my flask and then use Terra Magica, then get the Moonveil back out and use Transient Moonlight, that 993 goes to 1959. Obviously Black Blade is an arsehole in this game. He does very, very strong attacks and he takes a lot to take down, but 2000 damage on him is pretty good. As I said, Terra Magica, he's going to be moving around a lot. It's basically going to be used for your first attack. But even if you're not running if you're not using Terra Magica, you don't want to just abuse Transient Moonlight. This is really good in PvP as well. A lot of people are kicking off saying that it's being used as a crutch because people haven't got the skill or whatever to play PvP. If you want to just pop Golden Vow, and then you want to pop your flask as well, if you start doing your standard LB slashes, you'll see just how much quicker you can build that damage up. But if you've already used Terra Magica and then you just use the katanas after, the left bumper attacks on these are amazing, and that's why I would use the Nagakiba and take that extra range. So that was a look at a level 100 plus PvE guide for the Moonveil Katana, and you dual wield it and everything, intelligence build. And I would say it's OP in certain situations. It's not going to be OP against every single boss, nothing is in this game. There are some like cheese things that are going to be good against most bosses, but you have resistances and all that sort of stuff in the game. But this, for your general sort of gameplay, progressing through the game, the trash mobs, some bosses, it's going to be fantastic to run. It's a lot of fun, and I do think the Moonveil is going to be brought down a little bit. It's going to get a little bit of a nerf at some point, just because of how powerful it actually is. But what we're going to do is leave that video there. Apologies for the length. I just really wanted to get in depth and show you how to get all the different stuff and explain it all properly, so it's a full-on build guide. So let me know your thoughts and stuff about the build in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed it.